What happens when the person who actually pulled the trigger is never caught? Not maybe involved, actually there, according to the case file itself, holding the rifle. And more than 2 years later, nobody has ever put a name to him. Meanwhile, 3 teenagers, kids close to the same age as the boy they killed, are the ones who went to prison for it. This is the Pajarito Mesa case. And by the end of this video, I think you'll agree that gap between who was actually there and who's actually paying for it is the most unsettling part of this whole story. His name was Jesus Quintana Cota, 16 years old, from Albuquerque. Months later, when his family finally got to speak in court, they described him simply: a bright, kind, loving young man with his whole future ahead of him. Hold on to that image. It's the one that gets lost in most true crime retellings. On May 18th, 2024, Jesus arranged to meet up with 18-year-old Mariana Gomez Salinas. He thought it was a date. According to prosecutors, it was never that simple. Weeks earlier, on April 1st, someone had allegedly fired shots at a car belonging to Daniel Medrano Garcia, someone in Gomez Salinas's circle. The criminal complaint names Jesus as the one accused of pulling that trigger. I want to be fair here. He was never charged, never tried, and he isn't around to answer for that claim anymore. But prosecutors believe it's exactly why what happened next happened. A plan for payback, allegedly built out over social media, with a fake date used as bait. That plan led to Pajarito Mesa, high desert on Albuquerque's west side, wide open, thinly populated, dirt roads running for miles without a house in sight. It's not the empty wasteland people picture either. Families have lived out there for decades, which is part of what makes this so unsettling to me. This didn't happen in the middle of nowhere. For a lot of people, it happened close to home. According to the complaint, Gomez Salinas picked Jesus up and drove him to a spot on the west side, where Medrano Garcia and a third teenager, Dominic Marquez, were waiting. He was assaulted there. Then, the complaint says, the group picked up someone else entirely, an older man, never identified, carrying a rifle. From there, they drove to Pajarito Mesa. Gomez Salinas later told investigators she stayed in the truck. She said she heard a struggle, then gunshots. The others climbed back in. Jesus didn't. His body was found the next day, May 19th, by a passerby, which tells you how isolated that stretch of desert really is. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office moved quickly, working through phone records and the digital trail the group allegedly left on social media. Within 6 weeks, on June 27, 2024, all 3 teenagers were in custody. 2 of them were still legally minors on the night Jesus was killed. 3 teens in custody. On paper, that reads like a closed case. It wasn't, not even close. Before I tell you how this actually ended, if you prefer true crime that waits for the truth instead of guessing at it, hit subscribe. Because what happened in court over the next 2 years surprised almost everyone who followed it, myself included. This case didn't move fast, and it didn't end the way most people expected. Dominic Marquez pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 22 years. Daniel Medrano Garcia, the same young man whose car had allegedly been shot at back in April, pleaded no contest and also received 22 years. Then came Mariana Gomez Salinas. When her trial started in October 2025, jurors heard the same evidence everyone else had access to, and they acquitted her of murder entirely, along with aggravated robbery and aggravated assault. She was convicted only of kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and conspiracy. Her defense had argued she believed this was only ever going to be a robbery. She was sentenced to 19.5 years. Here's the detail I still can't get past. The man authorities say actually fired the fatal shot has never been identified, never arrested. As far as the public record shows, he's still out there, unnamed, while 3 teenagers who set that night in motion are the ones serving decades for it. So go back to the question I opened with. What happens when the person who actually pulled the trigger is never caught? Right now, honestly, nothing happens. There's no case against him, because there's no name to put on one. What gets me most about the Pajarito Mesa case isn't only what happened to Jesus. It's how the story kept reshaping itself the deeper I went. From a date gone wrong, to a revenge plot between teenagers, to a court record with an armed adult who's never had to answer for anything. All three of those things are true at once. None of them bring him back. If investigators ever put a name to that man, I'll bring you that update myself. I promise you that. Until then, if this story sat with you the way it sat with me, tell me in the comments. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.